Wonderful. Let's see here. It's most definitely about finding the people that you share the same interest and helping each other grow into the vision that you're desiring.
Yes. It's really incredible when you meet. And it was like more than it was like three women that came up to me and they automatically asked me what I do and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna want to do stuff with you and looking forward to talking to you." So I spoke to one on the phone, met with another one in person. The one I met in person is having an event in a month, asked me if I wanted to participate in that. And the other one is maybe not so ready. So the first one was really more interesting, and still to meet the one other person.
Awesome.
Yeah. How are you? How are things? Are you recording already or?
Yeah, yeah, we're on live,
Okay.
but everything's been going good. Getting better and better every day. Let's see here. We're going over cooperation and what does that mean to us and our daily lives. Let me get this on share. We're cooperating with a phenomenon called consciousness, quantum field, physical reality, always moving in reality forward through the way we think. I'm going to touch this lightly. Concentration, cooperation, and coordination. How power is developed through cooperation. As we have already seen, power is organized effort or energy. Personal power is developed by developing, organizing, and coordinating the faculties of the mind. So I want everyone to really think of cooperation. And I'm going to stream it now on Facebook for a little bit. You should have it on all platforms, but I went ahead and put it on here. Cooperation is really the introduction of your personal factor. You're cooperating with the reality all the time. We're always moving things into form. We're using our imagination to create the things that we experience. So concentration, cooperation, and coordination, how powers develop through cooperation. As we have already seen, power is organized effort or energy. Personal power is developed by developing, organizing, and coordinating the faculties of the mind. This may be accomplished by mastering and applying the 15 major principles upon which this course is founded. The necessary procedure, though which these principles may be mastered, is thoroughly described in these 16 lessons. The development of personal power is but the first step to be taken in the development of the potential power that is available through the medium of allied effort or cooperation, which may be called group power. It is a well-known fact that all men who have amassed large fortunes have been known as able organizers. By this is meant that they possess the ability to enlist the cooperative efforts of other men who supplied talent and ability which they themselves did not possess. The chief object of this course is so to unfold the principles of organized and cooperative or allied effort that the student will comprehend their significance and make them the basis of this philosophy. Now, when we look at the cooperative force cooperation, we're looking at the field, which is us. My imagination is aware. My imagination is creating reality. That's the cooperative force. And through the introduction of the personal factor, we induce reality. We induce it through our awareness, through our choices, through our management of ideas, collaborating in a certain direction. So we use the sensory factors from which we have moved into. We moved into the senses. You look at consciousness, consciousness moves into the face. It faces reality. Consciousness moves into a face, works through a face, works through the image making process of the face. The sensory factors, hear, see, taste, touch, and smell, bring the awareness of what you've been manifesting, what you've created, what you're experiencing right now. And all it's showing you is a production of ideas that you've been using in the past. It's a cooperative force that always has been. The sensory mode brings the realization of where you're at presently, cooperating with what you hear, see, taste, touch, and smell. The senses. The sensations that you feel are feedback from the field of the classical. They came from the quantitative state. Quantum mechanics, quantum physics is the field of entanglement that we use to reduce reality. It's a reduction. Right now, I am sitting in a hotel and I'm looking at the reduction of a painting behind me. Somebody's imagination. They left that in a form. I'm looking at the features of the hotel and I am seeing the imagination reduced down to the classical, functional apparatuses, chairs, seats. These are all cooperation through a cooperative force of their imagination. The body that can influence matter. The mind and body that can influence matter. If we want to go beyond what you hear, see, taste, touch, and smell, you've got to be self-induced. You've got to move to the higher faculties, which would be visioneering and listening. We went from hear and see to vision, seeing, and envisioning. There's a difference. When you see with the eyes, you're seeing classical. You're seeing reality as matter, as a function. When you move into visioneering to vision, you're not seeing with your eye. You're seeing with the mind's eye. You see a vision. Hearing and listening is going beyond the hear to entanglement. Seeing and visualizing, you're moving from the physical, classical mindset to a higher sense of awareness. So we move from seeing to visualizing to go beyond the senses. And then from hearing to listening. This is where we bring in entanglement. We become radioactive. We begin to reason with the field. So many people didn't understand that as you reason with the field, You're literally entangling with infinite intelligence. The entanglement with infinite intelligence is a cooperative force that human beings have to originate, to create, to manifest, to experience. Everything in the physical world is showing us feedback of this connection and this cooperative force that we have, that we use, and we apply. The question is, how much have you been partaking or even aware that this is possible, or aware that you have this ability to manifest the reality that you see? You've been doing it. Each and every one of us is manifesting reality all the time. But it's rare that you find somebody that's consciously, creatively going beyond the senses, going beyond what they hear, see, taste, touch, and smell, and unfolding a new reality beyond what they know and they were programmed to have. These are key elements, key functions that you can apply today. How much of this creative force, cooperative force, organized effort, reasoning factors are you using by changing your perception on what you see, what you hear, taste, touch, and smell? How often do you change your perception on yourself and what's possible for you? How often do you change your will? Will is your ability to select an image, to create something new, to change your behavior. That's what you have to change. It's not anyone else. You must enter into the state of realization that you're the one that has wielded your life to be as it is today. You wielded reality. You have been by the image making process, by the application of the images that you use. You sync, you sync to an idea, you take action. Perception, will, imagination, your ability to go beyond, tap in this field of consciousness, imagine reality you want, think of the steps you need to take, intuition, the receiving set, receiving ideas, images, visioneering, listening to your vision, getting feedback from the field, reasoning back and forth. That's what that was reasoning back and forth with the field. Me and me. Listen to me. This is feedback from me and me. And I'm pointing at something me that's invisible. This invisible space that you see right here is me. Watch. This invisible space is me. Now, I can disconnect myself from this invisible field that we call consciousness, that we call the quantum field, that we call origins of consciousness. I can separate myself from it. If I were to close my nose and my mouth right now and capture the oxygen that I have left with the body and not let it receive any more of this space, that's me. Within 4 minutes, I would lose consciousness of this space. I would lose consciousness of what I see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. I would lose awareness of my consciousness that I see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. So this is about me and me. The field is alive with memory, and it's you. You breathe in this memory, you breathe in this life, you breathe in your soul. Your soul is breathing you. Breath breathes you. but you're never aware of the images that you're taking in, that you're breathing in. And you're just moving along life, just breathing in oxygen, breathing in ideas, oscillating between a wave and a particle all day long, and really not aware of the potential power that you have to go beyond what you already know. This field is me, invisible, and I am conscious of the field, and the field is conscious of me. So this is biofeedback from the field to the brain to what we interface, what we enter a face. Consciousness enters a face and then views the world from that state. We must become aware that we are interfacing reality according to the image making process that we were using prior. I could angulate this camera and I could show you the rest of the hotel. And what you would see is the imagination of somebody else's production that they have created. I am experiencing someone else's imagination right now. The production of something that has come from before. I am experiencing it for things that I moved into family needs, and I am experiencing this reality. I can go back in time and I can go back 20 years in the past and I can move into the images that I was using in the past to create my reality. And I can literally walk in, I can visualize, I can remember, reorganize. Where's my memory? It's in the field. It connects to my brain. If I disconnect my nose and mouth and I isolate this oxygen, no more biofeedback. The body falls down. If I continue to separate consciousness, this space, from the brain, the body shuts down and dies. It no longer has consciousness in it. Listen to me. If I separate breath from the body more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I will have permanently separated consciousness from the body and the brain, memory, consciousness, memory from the body flatlines, the body begins to disintegrate. The field is no longer in the body, and the body is no longer in the field. They're no longer cooperating. Hemisync, fluctuating consciousness, feedback back and forth from the field to the body, from the body to the field. Can no longer reason its way through life. I can go back to the image making process I was using, and I found dumb jobs to earn dumb money. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It served me at the time, but I was picking those jobs or those things to do. I had found a impoverished job because of the image making process I was using of what I thought was possible at the time. Where was I getting the biofeedback? Well, as I think, I interface my memory. As I think, I'm interfacing my memories. Where's my memories? It is fluctuating all around me as I think. The images flash on the screen of my mind. If I say dog, cat, refrigerator, TV, if I say $100,000 annually, you're getting images flashing on the screen of your mind right now. If I say a million a year, you're seeing the word a million annually. Now, if you haven't experienced that, you don't know what that means. There was a time where even $20,000 annually. Was not, it wasn't something that I was producing, but I saw my family do that. So here is memory fluctuating from the field to the brain and organizing as a pattern plan to go experience. So we're literally experiencing our memory from the field as biofeedback. It's electromagnetic field feedback from the field, my field of consciousness, and I receive it in my headset and I move into action. It's a cooperative force. The really awesome thing about this, the way to earn 20,000 was right here, just the same way 100,000 was right here, just the same way to earn 1 million in a month was right here in the same space. So who's changing? So through the years, I was setting a different goal. And in setting different goals and my willingness to change my perception on what's possible for me, just the way you have to change your perception of what's possible for you. I can show you how to tap into this field of divine light, quantitative creation to build whatever you want. Because the information is right here and you're literally breathing it. But you keep flashing the images on the screen of your mind that are closest to your reasoning factors, inductive reasoning factors of what you already know. It's not until you decide what you're going to earn that you can start picking up other ideas beyond the normal operating status of the image making process that you use. The ability to create the phone was right here in the same space. Everybody's been breathing it. But it's rare people are getting the images that take them beyond what they know because they're not looking for them in the same field, in the same space. Do you know how many people sat around Einstein, Tesla that would not get the same images? You know how many people sat next to me and don't get the same images? It's not until you practice this on purpose that you start to cooperate and learn to reduce information from the field and capture information beyond what you know. Capture an idea, encapsulate an image, encapsulate intuition, encapsulate creativity, and be able to receive it on this headset interface. I have entered my face and I view the world from that state. And if I don't change the images that are interfacing with this mind and body, spirit, mind and body, spirit, which is infinite, there's an infinite spiritual consciousness beyond that has all entanglement, tangles with your mind, because your mind is spiritual, but it's entangled with memory that you already have. And then you have a physical body. And then you reason through this field and consciousness to create the things that you see. Now, I've gone through quite a bit, and I'm going to give you guys the opportunity. Do y'all have any questions, thoughts, takeaways? You guys have the floor right now. Questions, thoughts, takeaways. The beautiful part about this is that everyone wants to feel something. Everyone who wants to grow. You're perfect. You always have been. It's the perception that you have about yourself that has to change. And if you want to change something, the only place that you could change is something in you. I see that we are out of time. Thank you guys that are looking at this, giving you guys a lot of value every week. This last couple of weeks have been a little different. Had some things we need to take care of, and we're working towards getting back on track. And we're here to help people win. That's what we do, is help you win. But you gotta be willing to invest on yourself. Take a look at what we're doing. Send me a message. Get into one of our programs. Get into our classes. And we have made this to where anyone can afford it. You can start off with $5 a month, or you can start off with 100 a month, and you can get started on developing yourself. The only place in the world that you could ever change is you. I started off from nothing, and I started off from living in, you could say, the mindset of less than average. I have been able to self induce, self educate, and to think as I would never have thought before. And that's another thing. Some of you may think that I'm not smart enough, or I don't have the education. Well, I'm telling you right now that none of those things matter, because as you begin to learn this information, you will literally learn to wire and fire new neural pathways. You will literally learn to download information and be able to think and reason as you never would have before. I mean, this is truly an art. It's, goal achieving is an art, and we teach people how to do that. So it doesn't matter who you are, where you're at, what your results have been in the past. What really matters is, are you willing to change now? Thank you guys. I'm going to cut off the streaming on Facebook, and we will continue. Can you guys hear me in Zoom fine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thoughts, takeaways?
Good morning, everyone. I would say, take a wish. Our thought is sometimes we think that is can be small, like define the amount you wanna earn, but it's really powerful because the detail make you think and create and measure things. You start to measure things, you start to look for the opportunities, and you bring the order for your mind and for your direction. So you have to bring things on purpose for this direction. So put the amount you want to earn is really important for you to looking for the opportunities and do things on purpose to achieve it, is because we can have an idea. I want to live in abundance, but how is abundance for you? How much you want from abundance? So define that is very important to bring order and to help you define your steps.
Very good. Anyone else?
Um, I can definitely attest to like the image making process that you have in different times of your life and how it definitely just snowballs and leads you down a path until you maybe catch yourself or re-envision, reawaken different ideas, different versions of yourself. But yeah, you can make it really, really difficult if you want for yourself. And yeah, definitely tuning into how to, what are you looking for? What do you want? How do you feel? What is your ideas? Yeah, it takes time and we have to really tune into that, I think. Yeah.
So what is that? Is that tuning in? Are you tuning into something outside of you or inside of you?
Well, definitely outside of you because it's always imagination, dreaming, hoping, thinking. I don't like to use the word hoping actually. Just dreaming of possibilities for yourself.
Okay. So I want you to really think about the outside and the inside because you can never have an outside without having an inside. And people normally are tuned in from the outside and they don't tune into the inside long enough to control it, to control themselves. We're talking about two factors, the outside and the inside. And you can never reach changing your outside world without changing your inside world. That's the issue. And that's the problem we're going to always run into. We live, we live literally nowhere and everywhere at the same time. You got to be in control of you and you. We look at the outside world because we're looking through this face interfacing reality. We look through we see the outside world because we look through the face. It's rare that you're looking at your face. It's very rare somebody faces themselves. You
Well,
think that the world is, listen, you think the world is outside of you, but really the outside is a production of what you've already interfaced. You moved into your face and you've already brought reality, and what you're walking into is really facing you, but you don't see that as you. You see that as something outside of you, and we see it that we don't have control. It is the projections that we've used, and we're interfacing with the projections we've already manifested. The key is we got to go back inside and change what's happening in here. The
don't
inside has to change.
but don't you already feel a certain way? Recognize that that's not maybe quote unquote good for you in the moment, or you hit the bottom, or you don't feel a certain way anymore. Don't you have to
You,
already feel that on the inside before then you start imagining on the outside?
what you're feeling is the awareness of the cognitive functions that you're internally having. Do it, don't do it, like it, don't like it, want it, don't want it, leave, don't leave. What you're feeling, what we feel, the sensations that we feel, sensory factors are always internal. There's an inner sensory and there's an outer sensory. Outer is physical, it's classical. There's an inner sensory, and that can be layers of sensories. It could even be bitter good, but it's an entanglement of memory that we're using. It could be an entanglement of frustration. Move, don't move. Layers of consciousness arguing with each other until you can cooperate with all of your mind and no longer have duality inside and enter into cooperation and harmony. because you can have dual forces inside of you of rejections, beliefs, wants, decisions you made or not made, and all having membrane, controlling the way you behave. They all have to be coherent. And when they're not in coherence, we create trouble in River City. River City would be the rest of our body. Different parts of our body start to have issues. It's because we have too many memories opposing each other. And then we store that in the body. Everyone following me?
Yep.
I saw Ricardo was in now. How you doing, Ricardo?
Hello, good morning, everybody. Just got up.
Interference and harmony. And then we've got to bring the hemispheres into a cooperative state.
When you want to,
Ricardo, I'd
yeah,
like
go on.
to bring this together, the hemi communication and intercommunication hemisync, to create a harmonic balance between the membranes, the shapes of the mind, all the different shapes that we have of ourselves. How can we bring harmony, inductive, deductive reasoning? Yeah. Because this is where the separation happens, continues to happen.
I noticed
It
that
had to.
every new session, we get into this, every new session, the one before, now, and so on. It is so natural to add more and more vocabulary, therefore more and more distinctions and concepts to the whole thing. And it's so natural to, it's not making it more complex, but it's approaching the degree of complexity the actual thing is actually made of. If you want to talk about it, which is what we are doing. We wanted to talk about this thing. And so I noticed that every new session there's more and more complexity being trying to shuffle in our conversations. This is what I noticed. And even now, you want to put it all together when you want to talk about the interaction between both hemispheres, left and right. And why is that relevant? Because we do have a brain, and we have to go out into the world through this brain. This is not something that is not something that is common knowledge. It is not. It's actually never been in the history of humanity. But that is a fact. And there's a truth in those facts. That there is a brain, and we've got to go out into the world through the brain. No, so now, that's the relevance of the question you're asking. No? And which, what you just asked me, well, like we're consolidating everything we've been talking about into an enormous set of complexity, gigantic. But here we are, no? We're very, very bold human beings. We're very, very, very bold. No? So let's see if I can address this you're asking me. Yeah, I think the very basics of the whole issues and problematic of this complexity is the concept of separation. No? That's a pivot. That's a pivot around everything else moves, no? Separation. And it is everywhere, no? The first separation, I suppose we can talk about regarding life, just as such as life, is the separation that ensues when for the first time in the history of the universe, a long time ago, there is an opportunity for life to show up as a localized, very localized membrane, no? Which automatically, again, look at the verb, separates something that is now outside. When there was a membrane, when there was no membrane at all, well, there's no separation. It's just, everything's just space doing its own thing. But when life comes into the scenario, it appears, it has got to generate a membrane that automatically separates space as out there and in there, outside and inside. That's the first separation, the existence of a membrane. But also that membrane that doesn't only separate us from the outside and keep it inside under new laws, the imperative of survival,
Right.
no, but it also makes us interact with the outside. So it keeps us safe from the outside, but it also allows us to interact with the outside. That's what a membrane does. And that thing is purely a molecular machinery, albeit very, very unsophisticated, yet very, very sophisticated at the same time. No? It is unsophisticated with regards to where it is going to actually end up existing as a multi-membrane organism. But that's later in the evolution of its own nature. That's the evolution of life. Huh? So again, separation is the point of departure of this thing. The separation that allows for there to be an outer and an inner. Now, once the inner it is existing, there's a membrane that makes it exist. Whatever was trapped inside, whatever liquid, whatever molecules, whatever was trapped inside the membrane, has to survive. From there until right now that we're talking about it. You just have to survive, period. No matter the cost. No matter the cost. And oftentimes we pay a gigantic cost, but it doesn't matter. The proof of the pudding is we made it, we survived, right? Okay, the mechanism works. Here we are. Now, if we stop, the thing inside, the observer inside, that which makes us unique inside, it is not outside, it's inside. But it's an inside that has taken millions and millions of years to exist, as is now, as we talk about it ourselves right now. So now we look at it and say, okay, we start reflecting about it. And we'll figure out, where do we come from, those of us who are reflecting about it? Now, it seems a dolphin and a dog and an ant and a flea don't reflect about it. But we do. We know we do. And that's another very sophisticated way that this whole thing is organizing its own separation, no? Where it comes from, the memory. See, now from there we can go anywhere you want, no? So going back to your question, this separation. What is the status of the separation? Because the separation is there, always there. But what is the status of the separation? Is that separation existing in unity? Inside, whatever that may mean? Is the separation existing in duality? Inside, whatever that may mean? Is that separation existing in multiplicity? Inside, whatever that may mean? How is it existing? Because that's also a fact. If you live in unity, it's one thing. There are forces that are organized, cooperating, coherent between them, not fighting, not arguing. It's just one. One is one unity. Or it can exist in a state of duality. And then you got all those forces that were one inside of unity. What is the state of separation when there's only oneness? Is there any separation? You see? And I think that that separation comes to an end in a human being. It's an awesome thing. An awesome accomplishment of life. Damn. Only in a state of unity. Then everything that exists, everything, absolutely everything, is included in you. That's your vivencia. That's your experience. That separation ends when there's unity. If you want to describe it, it's extremely complex. But in spite of the complexity, we can use words to describe it. That's called wisdom. Very simple words, very profound truths, in very small words. And you can describe it. People feel described, or feel, oh shit, I want that. That's when you use words to describe something like that, without going into the complexity, and you make it simple. Well, that's called wisdom. Sage, your sageness. Okay? But you don't have access to that except in theory, as a theoretical possibility for yourself, when you live deeply ingrained in separation through duality, or even deeper, separated in multiplicity, no? So if we are bounded by duality, there's something in us that yearns its unity. If we're bounded in multiplicity, there may be something that yearns or may not be. Yearns that unity from multiplicity, no? So now, if you want to involve the brain, what I just said, damn. Well, let's look at it a little bit, just a little bit. Your brain, understand this, your brain has two regions, all of us. It is not something that is negotiable. It just has two regions, period. You know, and more outer region, more up there region, and the lower region, or deeper region, because you can't see it. Deeper because you just can't see it. It is covered by the cortical mantle. It's a mantle. It's called the neocortex. And then underneath it, you got another region called the subcortex. Neocortex, subcortex. That's our brain. Ours, not talking about any other animal, just us. And this two regions, that's neocortex, subcortex, one is on top, like a pecan. You open a pecan, you see old rugged stuff. That's exactly like that. That's the neocortex, look like, very much like that, the neocortex. And underneath you got that subcortex. But you see, there's again this duality. And somehow the separation is present in that duality between the region and the neocortex and the subcortex. So that means something. That is some very important stuff to understand about the brain, why it is that way. And then you got the other lateral way of looking at the brain, the other lateral way, which is left and right hemispheres. So you got a left neocortex, a left subcortex, a right neocortex, a right subcortex. There you are. Again, duality. But all encased in one big, gigantic bone, your head. Well, there it is. Duality is encased there. And then you got a third laterality, a third way of looking at the lateral aspects of the brain. That's front and back, which do very different types of processing. But again, front and back, there you have it. A third laterality, a third duality. But they are finally pulled together, pushed together inside this 1,500 cubic centimeters of bone, no? Your cranium, no? Your hard head, no? There you are. That's again, this duality right there. And when you're born, the day you were born, literally, the left and the right hemispheres are always wanting to communicate. See, that's where communication comes into the picture. Because if there is a duality, there's a sort of separation. But the separation wants to end itself, wants to fix itself, quote unquote fix. And the way it does is just generating communication. So communication always implies some sort of separation, whereby the emitter wants to emit something, and it's going to go to the other side that is required to admit what the emitter emitted. And then backwards to feedback backwards again to the other side, no? So there's communication. So communication always implies some sort of separation. It's got to be. You see. So there it is. You already have mechanisms trying to figure it out. How the hell do we put an end to the separation? It's amazing, no? Wow, it's really amazing. Okay, so now we have these two sides, these three sides, the left and the right, the front and the back, and the up and the down. The thing on top, the thing on the bottom. There you have 3 different planes of accessing the brain to understand the brain. Making it as simple as possible, let's just talk about the one between the left and the right, the left and the right. So there's communication. They want to communicate with each other. Okay. Why do they want to do that? Because each of those hemispheres processes information in very different ways. Very different ways. So each of those hemispheres, left and right, give you a different architecture for experience. Mind what I just said. So experience is dependent upon the way each hemisphere, in human beings, organizes information. That's it. Because experience is what? What is experience? Contact with what? With the outer. Contact with the environment. That's what experience is. Contact with an environment is an experience, period. And deeply ingrained inside the human brain is an architecture that allows the processing of that experience. And regarding the 2 hemispheres, left and right, it processes in a very completely different way, that experience. You see? And then they want to communicate what they each processed. And it happens physically, literally. So when you're born, by default, you're born with about 200,000 different fibers coming from the left, going to the right, and coming from the right, going to the left. You're born with 200,000 different fibers when you're born, by default. Now, enough to keep you alive, processing experience. Left and right, right and left, left and right, right and left. 200,000. That's called the corpus callosum. No, cuerpo calloso in Spanish, corpus callosum, no? It's like a callus, no? If you look at it from the outside, it looks like a callus, like a bridge, a callus bridge between 2 hemispheres. It's called the corpus callosum. And when you're born, it's made of 200,000 fibers. But when you're 21, you have over 800 million fibers. Look at that. 800 million fibers by the age of 21. 200,000 when you're born. There you are. That's the big, man. That's communicating with each other. The difference between 200,000, which you're born with that by default, and 800 million at 21, is what? Experience. Your contact with the entorno, your contact with your environment. So look at that. Holy cow. You see what I'm saying? So now how do you connect that very fact with Unity, duality, damn, multiplicity. Oh, yeah, okay, we can pose a question, but try to answer it. Holy cow, that's incredible complexity.
Well, what we want to figure out is unifying, unifying to one direction. The closest I can get to it right now is falling in love with an idea to the point to where every fiber in your body angulates in that direction, no
Hmm.
matter what's going on inner outer world.
Hmm.
When you fall so in love with an idea, love love unites.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
the thing that I've always known is that, or even seen and experienced, was that whenever I wasn't really in love, I would get more friction, or things wouldn't work out, or they work out, they don't work out, they fall apart. It's not coherent. Something always happens. But what I've noticed is that whenever I was really, really in love, things found their way to position themselves, even myself.
Yeah. So now you've entered another concept into this conversation we're having, no? Into this conversation. Another concept, Or two concepts, actually. One is love, the role of love and all this stuff. Who would figure, no? Love will have to play a role in this stuff. And then the other one is position. Those two concepts are of utmost importance as well. Utmost. No? And that, you see, those two concepts are describing mechanisms, actual mechanisms, both love and positioning. Now, whereby life is entangling us, it's committing us to solve that separation in our own lives. Solve that separation in our very own lives. In each and every one of the impulses through which and by which we interact with the environment. Because in humans, we do not only have a possibility of contact with the environment, which is the basis of experience, and as I said, the brain brings the architecture for that experience, but we also have a contact with ourselves. With
I'm back.
ourselves.
We
Oh,
got like 2 minutes, Ricardo, to go into the TM.
okay. What, you have any questions, guys? As you know, yeah, I can go there, babbling and babbling and babbling within, so I have to just stop at some moment. Any questions, please? Any comments?
I have a question. So it's easy to say you want to put your mind into, or you want to think a certain way because you want to get out of a situation. But that situation, the old situation carries emotions and memories that somehow don't are not easily wanting to let go. So what's the solution or what's the idea to not, because sometimes even when you think of something, you want something so badly, there's still like, let's say, hurt or pain that is still kind of holding on. And how do you like really help yourself to heal that part, because you can't ignore it or else it kind of like still stays there, so it kind of gnaws at you. How do you heal that so that it kind of gives you the space to then move forward?
Well, if you're asking me directly, I have my own take on that, and Abraham has his own take. We are complementary. That's why we're working together. My take is, well, again, in your question, you've set up your question with a lot of different concepts, no? Many more than we just. I just trying to make it simple. Now your question is much more complex because you bring in different concepts into the picture of your question, and therefore, if you bring in different concepts, mind what I'm saying. There's vocabulary underneath each word. There's a concept underneath each concept. There may be a distinction. Underneath a distinction, there is a mechanism. Literally, a mechanism. And the mechanism is oftentimes it is born out in the mind itself, or sometimes it's born out the very mechanism of the concept of the word you're using is born in the brain. Either born in the mind, born in the brain. So remember what a situation is. What is a situation? You spoke of a situation. What is a situation? Is the encounter of two different positions. That's a situation. So I have a position, a particular moment. You have another. And you're going to find out that you have another one. And what is the difference between the position that I bring to the picture and the position that you have? You're going to become aware of it because of my position. So if my position is trying to hinder you from something or is trying to impose something on you, or whatever, you're going to find out if you have a position or not, and if you can take a stance. That's with regarding with other people, situations, adversities, adversaries. That's it. But if you're talking about a situation in which you yourself have a position, and then another part of you yourself has another position, because you're in a transition for change. You want to change. If you want to change something, you're going to find situations created by yourself, by the butting heads between two different positions. The one that you're used to having, the one you used to like to use, apply, and the other one, which is a new one, which the first one becomes the antagonist to the second one. It becomes in its own adversity and its own adversary. And another concept you brought into the picture is, okay, well, there are two pains here. My new position, where I have to overthrow the previous one, and there's the pain that I can't. I want to overthrow the first one with the second one, but I can't, and that hurts because I can't. I want, but I can't. There's one aspect of hurt, and the other aspect of hurt is that the old position, the one you always used and you used to love, but no longer, okay, is itself made of pain, right in the middle of it, embedded into it. So you got two sources of pain. The pain embedded in the position that you want to get rid of, and the pain of becoming aware that, oh shit, I'm trying to get rid of the thing, and it won't go away, and it hurts and it doesn't go away. That's the other aspect of pain. You see? So now you're asking me, well, how do I get rid of that shit? Because it bothers me. You see? But then you've got to understand many things about this, because now you're trapped. You're trapped inside of you. Right between your current situation, the current
Ricardo,
status. Yes?
we're past our time.
Okay, buddy. We meditate then. How long do you want to meditate?
We can do it for 18 minutes.
18? Okay. Sorry, Carla. You're going to go inside and find the answer. Okay, let's sit comfortably, please. Close your beautiful eyes, all of you guys, including you, Abraham. And after you close your eyes, sitting comfortably, that's important, sitting comfortably. Close your eyes and you'll see the black screen there. And somewhere deep in that black screen, there are all kinds of effervescent activities called thinking and remembering and stuff. Go there, and when you find any particular nook and cranny there, that there's less effervescent activity, there's where you can go and insert the mantra or invoke the mantra. I'll control the time, okay? See you on the other side. Without opening the eyes, please. Without opening the eyes. Stop thinking the mantra. Yes, stop thinking the mantra. No, open the eyes. Don't open the eyes. And you wait at least a minute. At least a minute before you open the eyes. If you can wait it out laying down, even better. If not, in this minute, in this at least minute, you can rub your skin, rub your body, stretch it, move your joints, but do not open the eyes, please, okay? Just not to shock the nervous system. You've exposed it to a forced sentient state. Always wait a minute. Always, always, always. At least. If it's more, better. Remember, when you try to open the eyes, the moment that happens, you may find that the eyelids do not want to open. They don't want to accept your demand of opening. They feel heavy. Do respect that, okay? Do respect that. If that happens, that's normal. It's okay. It's part of the seventh, this fourth state of sentience is part of that. And if at the end of the whole thing, you find that you went to the droopy syndrome, you had falls, that's cool. That's all right. That's the evidence that you did everything correctly. Very, very good. Anything you want to say, Abraham, before we bid farewell? Are you there, buddy?
Everyone have a wonderful day.